It all started around probably 5th or 6th grade. I met Jordan. We were in a gifted program.
I thought you were saying trouble. We were in trouble together a lot.
He's a writer. I'm an artist. He can think it up, and I can, visualize it and bring it out on paper.
It always came back to that. I mean, we used that matchup to do a whole bunch of things. Everything from videos that you can see on YouTube and are highly offensive, and you probably shouldn't watch them. But this was like the South Park WWE era, where those kind of things were popular. Anyway, we did that. We did an independent wrestling federation where Sam wrestled. I commentated and did skits in the ring, and then also wrote the storylines together.
Some of the guys that actually acted those out went on to be in large companies like WWE and TNA and became like national and international stars. And a lot of those ideas were coming from the wrestling promotion that we had.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a very highly creative period for us.
Something that's very close to our hearts with this particular story and project that we're doing the Kickstarter for, this Hafu, is it started off our freshman year of high school. In one of my art classes, we were asked to create a 5-page comic book about anything that we wanted. And for me, being a lifelong comic book fan, this was my dream project. And so I did this 5-page story about this female ninja, little bit anime character.
Well, I remember at the time, and this is kind of where everything started, was you made this 5-page comic book and it said like Ninjet on it. Like I would have pronounced it Ninjet, it ends in an E. And then you're like, no, it's Ninjetti. And I'm like, well, I'm not reading a comic called Ninjetti that I would not pronounce like that. So I changed the E to an I. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at that word, I was like, that looks like Italian and Japanese kind of all smashed up together. Let's make a character who's half Italian, American, and half Japanese.
Yeah, it was probably about a year or two after we graduated from high school that Jordan actually sat down and fleshed this out and turned it into like a 30-page script, just like you would write a movie. And I drew it all up and we turned it into, our first ever fully finished comic book. And
we went to a couple of conventions and we're these little snot-nosed, like not a lot of world experience and not a lot of filter.
We went to Wizard World Chicago.
And we went to Kansas City,
Kansas City, and we handed out free copies of this book, just asking for feedback. That was the thing, is we didn't even try to sell it.
No,
we wanted people to critique it. We wanted to hear
total
back.
douchebags about it.
Yeah, we wanted to know what people like and what they don't. We took this book up to Chicago and Kansas City and handed it out, and we didn't hear back from one single person. We felt like we failed with the book. I think we felt like, hey, here's something that we actually finished, that we put our heart and soul into, and nobody cared, and it kind of drove both of us out of the creative world for a while.
But we really didn't let it get us down. What really happened is we let it kind of push us back into wrestling, and we focused on wrestling for a while, and then what happened was I decided that I was going to leave town for 8 years. And even though this was the age where the internet was really starting to become a big thing, for some reason we didn't collaborate online a whole lot together until towards the end of that 8 years I started emailing you and saying that we needed to be doing something.
We felt like we still had an awesome underlying premise.
Oh, and we did it wrong.
We have a story, we have a character that could really resonate with people. We have a story that is awesome, but we were just too young and too inexperienced at the time, and honestly we just didn't have the resources.
And we were dumb. Now we know a whole lot more. We don't know everything. We still are learning tons of stuff every day, but we feel like we have something that people will enjoy, and it's proven because people that bought our comic the first go around really seem to enjoy it.
Right. With Hafu 1, we sold over 500 copies, and for a 64-page independent book that nobody's ever heard of, that's actually very well.
One other thing too is this is not a contrived sequel. The original script was written as like a movie length type of thing, and in this case the comic book that you get out of that is about almost 160 pages of content, and it tells one story. And it's unfortunate that just because of how long it took us and when we wanted to go to conventions with the book last time, we only got it halfway complete. But the whole thing is complete now, and in this Kickstarter, you're not only going to get the chance to get book 2, if you haven't even gotten into the ground floor, you can just pick them both up and they're one continuous story that was meant to all be together. So if you're new, don't think that the sequel is not the place to jump in. You can jump in on this Kickstarter and get the whole story.
By contributing to our funds and going above just the book level, you're helping us with going to the conventions, hitting the tours, hitting the marketing, and doing all the things that we feel that is necessary for making this much more than just an indie book.
And who knows, if we get a huge response, it might be a big enough of a boost or an encouragement for us to maybe consider living this dream a little bit more, spending more time on the things that we produce and getting them to the audience faster.
For sure.
That's the dream.
We're two guys with creative abilities, and so far over the last 30 some odd years we've produced things that a lot of people have told us that they're like or they're into, and we would just like that ability now to get that creativity and our brand to a much larger audience and on bigger platforms.
And my children are hungry.